Hey YouTube, Gengar level X11 here. Sorry if I'm looking up there. That's my monitor. Doing a City Championships report. I did end up running Gengar EX with Trevenant, Sigilyph, Wobbuffet. It did alright, I guess. It was my first event back in like 2.5 years-ish. I've had about a month to try to get a grasp on the meta, like playing with some friends locally to try and, I don't know, they have a lot of cards, so they can build like really any deck and have like all the decks built at once. So I play tested against a whole bunch of different decks. In the end, I did decide, if you don't know my list, I'll actually just put an annotation right here, and I'll put a link down in the description as well for mobile viewers. I did decide to take out the Spirit Link, Gengar Spirit Link, and the Mega Gengar EX. I was really playing it solely for Donphan and nothing else really. I mean, sometimes it would become useful, but I just didn't see any sense in playing it because I was kind of lacking consistency. So I took out that and I added in 2 Colress. These are full arts. I'm just borrowing them from one of my friends here locally. But yeah, Colress is amazing because I fill up my bench with Robosub, Sigilyph, Wobbuffet, extra Gengars, stuff like that, Trevenant. And every deck really kind of fills the deck, or fills the bench. So Colress is just a good play in general right now. So I ran Colress. It was definitely useful, like Colress for 9 and stuff like that. It's just crazy. So I took out the Gengar Spirit Link, the Mega Gengar, and added in 2 Colress just for extra consistency. Nothing else in the list changed. First round, I played Seismitoad, which I swear like 80% of the people there were running freaking Seismitoad. Seismitoad Garbodor. That was insane. Like, I've never seen so much disruption. I got a decent start. I had a Gengar. I put an energy on him, and I night attacked something, and then he just like enhanced hammered off. It was like a DCE, and he enhanced hammered it off. It's like, okay. And then I attached like a psychic next turn and night attacked, blah blah blah, and he kept quaking punching, like keeping me in the quaking punch item lock. So that was rough. And then next turn he flipped heads on a crushing hammer to get rid of my psychic energy. I think I attached a muscle band turn 1 as well, and he like 0-6'd off the muscle. He 0-6 to take off my muscle band, and then he head-ringered my Gengar, and like I think for like literally 10 straight turns I didn't have an energy attached to Pokemon. He would just discard him every time, and I was just walling with Sigilyph because he played Drifblim, the one that does 20 damage times. Is it 20 damage? No, it's 50 damage times the number. I don't remember. Times the number of special energy in your opponent's discard. It might be 20. I can't remember. But it was only a Drifloon, and I killed the Drifloon early to make sure I didn't see that. Because then I could just wall with Sigilyph for a long time until I finally got a Gengar powered up, and he basically ran out of steam after he used like all 4 of his crushing hammers and all 4 of his enhanced hammers. So I eventually just started to whittle him down with actually that game I think Sigilyph took a prize. I was hitting for 70 every turn because it's 50 it does 50 damage plus 20 or plus 10 for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. They have a DCE on him, so I was hitting for 70 every turn, and I just like 3-turn knockout a Toad. And every super scoop up he hit a tails on, but every crushing hammer he hit a heads on. It was ridiculous. So I did win my first round matchup against Seismitoad Garbodor, which I was pretty stoked about. Garbodor didn't really come into play too much. I mean, once he got a Garbodor into play, he couldn't get a tool attached to it, and yeah, so it was good. the lock was crazy, though. Like, in the first 10 turns, I was like, okay, well, I lost this game. This isn't really fun. But by the time he basically exhausted all his resources and dropped the lock, we were good to go. So I won round 1. Round 2, I played against... I flipped over... It was like a god start. Like, I had like a Gengar EX, and then I had a... It was like a Sigilyph on the bench and another Gengar EX on the bench. And in my hand, I had like Psychic Energy. No, I had a double Colorless Energy, a Verbank, and an Ultra Ball. It was something like that, and a Sycamore or something like that. And like I like attached the energy to the active, Verbanked, Ultra Balled for something, and then like Sycamored for 7, and I was like, wow, this is like a god start. And I was like, float stone, muscle band. Like, I got everything I needed. And he flipped over a Reshiram. I don't know if I said that. He played a Charizard EX on the bench. And like I said, I've tried to learn the meta for like a month only. So he played a lot of cards that I didn't know what they did. And he put a Voltorb on the bench. And I was like, Voltorb, huh? And he's like, yeah, it evolves into a slightly better Electrode. And I was like, okay. And I had no idea what that Electrode did, but I was scared of it. I don't know why I was scared of it, but I wasted 2 turns night attacking the Voltorb to kill it. 2 or 3, I can't remember how much HP it has. But I basically wasted turns night attacking the Voltorb to kill it while he was just like Battle Compressor for 3 Fire Energy into the discard, Blacksmith, attaching all this stuff. And then he eventually one-shotted my Gengar with the muscle-banded Charizard EX, and at that point I was like, oh, crap. And I killed the Charizard EX, and then he just like ran through me with Reshiram. And I was like so discouraged because I was like, I just lost to like Charizard EX Reshiram with Electrode, and I wasted so many resources on killing the freaking Voltorb. So I was like kicking myself after that. I was like, okay, I'm 1-1. Next game I played... What did I play? Oh, Virizion Genesect, which is a horrible matchup for Gengar because I can't get affected by special conditions. So I basically dropped the item lock as early as I could to avoid the G-Booster on Genesect and just started whittling down prizes. At one point I Lysandered up his Deoxys and one-shot it with a muscle-banded Gengar because it didn't have a Grass Energy, so it took the poison. So it was 2 prizes. I slowly killed a Virizion. That was 2 more prizes. I had a whole bunch of damage stacked on this Genesect. And I had 2 prizes left. He had 1 prize left. I just kept having to sacrifice like my Wobbuffet and my Trevenant and a Phantump and stuff. I just had to keep like sacrificing things so I could keep my Gengar alive and well so it didn't die. And I think he misplayed because in the end, I guess he said he forgot he had damage on his Genesect, but in the end he just like, I had a Trevenant with 110 HP as far as I know. Yeah, Trevenant with 110 HP. He Megalo-Cannoned it for 100, and I was like, oh god, I lived. And I was like, I have the win, because he had 120 damage on the Genesect, has 170 max HP, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, okay, if I'm counting right, I have the game right here. I just like retreated the Trevenant, and I was like, Dark Corridor for knockout, and he's like, oh, I forgot I had damage on my Genesect. I was like, I don't know how you forgot that, honestly. But I didn't see G-Booster at all that game, so Trevenant was like MVP, because I hate Virizion Genesect. That matchup is so hard for me. So it's 2-1. I don't know what that noise was. So it's 2-1. Next match, I played... Who did I play against? Oh, Slurpuff Toad. I think. Hold on, let me think. Yeah, Slurpuff Toad. 2 Gengar EXs were prized. I only had 1 in the deck. Literally never saw it. I was attacking with Sigilyph, walling the Seismitoad with Sigilyph. He was like laser banking like all game, and I was like trying to keep these Sigilyphs alive with just like Sigilyph, Wobbuffet, Trevenant, Robo Sub is like the only things he saw of my deck. I could not for the life of me get that Gengar out of the deck because of the trainer lock. I like Junipered 3 times, End 3 times, Colress twice, Shaunted twice. Never saw the Gengar. And I mean, Sigilyph took like 2 prizes for me, but honestly, the only thing I was hoping for that game was just a draw. I was hoping I could just wall with Sigilyph long enough to where we just went to time, and I had to take the tie because I could not do anything until I drew that Gengar, which I didn't. So he eventually whittled me down with laser banks, blah, 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 and I was 2-2. Pretty upset at that point. I knew there was a small chance I could still make top cut, and I would have to win out, of course. And my resistance was really high because at that point the Reshiram Charizard guy was like 4-0, and the Seismitoad that I beat earlier in the day was 3-1. So like my resistance was looking really good. Oh, but after the Charizard EX Reshiram game, the guy said he has to leave at 4, so he was going to drop if it went that far, which it definitely did. He dropped, which killed my resistance, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, game 5, I played against Night March. I started Gengar EX with like a Sigilyph on the bench. He started Pumpkaboo in the active. He drew, I think I went first. No, he went first. He drew, and I guess he was getting a little ahead of himself. He like attached a DCE and a Silver Bangle to the bench Joltik, which has 30 HP, and he was like, okay, and I'll pass. I was like, okay, I'll draw DCE on Gengar Night Attack, which places 3 damage counters on any of your opponent's Pokemon. So I just killed the Joltik, and he was like, oh, well. And I mean, it really wasn't hard from there. I had to sacrifice a couple prizes, like Sigilyph and stuff like that, because I can't really wall against basics that aren't EXs hitting for like 200. So I sacrificed a couple things like Trevenant, Sigilyph, Wobbuffet, stuff like that. A couple times I Lysandered, like I would like Lysander a Mew and one-shot it with Gengar. I eventually just took all my prizes, so I have a pretty easy Night March matchup just because my attacker really is never in the active spot. So I was 3-2. At that point, I was pretty excited. I was like, okay, well, I definitely have a chance. Charizard guy dropped at that point. No. He was 4-1 at that point, or something like that, and he did drop 4-1, and he dropped. And I was like, well, that sucks. That was really gonna help my resistance. And I played Jose Marrero, an old friend from Orlando when I lived down there, and played all the time with him. It's like a throwback match. He's playing Landorus Bats. And I mean, there's nothing I can really say. He just beat me, straight out beat me. Landorus like one-shot a Gengar, and he was spreading damage with Hammerhead or whatever it is, like 50 to the active, or even more with like Fighting Stadium and Strong Energy, and like 30 to the bench. So, and all the snipes with the bats and everything. So, I mean, he just outplayed me. I haven't played that matchup enough, so I couldn't really figure out what to do. So I ended up 3-3. Jose made top cut, so I knew, at least I know, like if I won, I would have made top cut. I ended up 17th, and top 16 gets prizes. One of the guys I carpooled with actually got 16th. We had the exact same resistance, but his opponent win percentage was like 3% higher than mine. So I've actually never seen it come down to that like tiebreaker or whatever. But yeah, he got 16th. So I guess spots 9 through 16 got 2 packs each, and then top 8, of course, played for the win. But yeah, overall it was fun, a lot of fun. My first event back in like 2.5 years, like I said. A lot of fun. I forgot how much fun it is, like going to tournaments and stuff, like carpooling with people, like what's it called, theory crafting and stuff like that, all these decks and stuff. And but yeah, it's cool to be back in the scene and everything. So went 3-3 at my first cities back in 2.5 years playing Gengar EX. I am gonna probably try to fit a 4th Gengar EX in here, just because having 2 of them prize was like ridiculous. But yeah, nothing much you can do about that. So yeah, I guess the next event is regionals. Hopefully I can make it to that and not be working or anything like that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and Gengar Level X11 out.